Baruch Habayim, ladies. We are studying today Parashat Chayei. The main theme of our parasha is, of course, the shidduch between Yitzhak Avinu and Rivka. The Torah spends many Pesukim telling us about Eliezer going to the house of Lavan, telling us about the good attributes of Rivka. He brings her back. Eventually Yitzhak marries her. She becomes one of the imahot, one of the matriarchs of Israel. It's a most wonderful and beautiful story. Whenever we talk about the subject of marriage, we always study Parashat Chayei. That's where the Torah teaches us all the secrets of dating, shidduchim, shadchani, matchmakers. This is where the subject is found. Today, I'd like to share with you something that's related to marriage, something that you might have heard once in passing, and I hope Azat Hashem will be able to uncover some of the secrets that take place at a wedding ceremony. Baruch Hashem, we've all enjoyed going to weddings, whether it's our own weddings or to others, but there's much that takes place at these parties that we're not aware of. One of the biggest mitzvot is the Sameach Hatan v'Kala. It's a mitzvah to make the Hatan v'Kala happy, to rejoice with them, to dance in front of them, to say good words to them. Actually, if you look in the first Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, the Mishnah says the world stands on three things: Ala Torah, Ala Avodah, Ala Gemilut Hasadim. The world stands on the study of Torah, that's a pillar of the world. The world stands on Avodah, that's prayer, and Gemilut Hasadim, acts of kindness. So the commentators explain, what does it mean, acts of kindness? There's a rabbi called the Benu Ovadia Mebartenura. The Benu Ovadia explains, Gemilut Hasadim, Kegon, L'sameach Hatam v'Kala. Example, to make the Hatam v'Kala happy. That's an example of Hesed. The next time you go to a wedding, you have to have kavanah. When you're dancing in front of the kala, so you're thinking that you're doing an act of kindness, that you're bringing joy to a new bride. The Gemara in Ketubot, Daf Yud Zayin, says, and I quote, stories of the rabbis. Amru ala Rabbi Yehuda bar Elai. They tell the story about Rabbi Yehuda bar Elai. Shayan notel bad shel hadas umeraked lefnei kala. He would take a hadas. You know the hadas from the lulav? He would take a hadas and he would dance with the hadas in front of the bride. Ve'amar kala na'ab hasuda. And he would sing, what a beautiful kala, what a pleasant kala. He would dance with the hadas. Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzhak, another rabbi called Rav Shmuel bar Yitzhak, meraked atelat. He would dance with three. What does it mean with three? So she explains, Shalosh badin, zorek echad umekabel achat. He would take three hadasim and he would juggle them. He would dance in front of the Hatan and Kala and he would throw up a hadas and catch it and so on and so forth. He would juggle the hadasim. Gemara says, Amar Bizera kam machsif lan sabah. The old rabbi is embarrassing us because they felt that he's such a big Talmid Hakam and he's lowering his dignity to do such a thing in front of the Hatam v'Kala. They were saying he's embarrassing us. A big rabbi like this, he's juggling in front of the Hatam v'Kala. Anyway, the Gemara says, Has v'shalom, ki nach nafsheh, when Rav Shmuel bar Yitzhak passed away, Ifsik amudad denurad ben dideh lechule alma. There was a pillar of fire that came out of the Shamayim, and the pillar of fire separated between the rabbi's coffin and everybody else. As if to say that the man that passed away was a very big tzaddik, that the fire came down. The Gemara says the fire comes down to the tzaddikim, only the biggest tzaddik of the generation, not everybody. So this rabbi over here obviously was a great, great man. He merited in his death to have the fire come down next to his coffin. But today I came to explain to you only one thing. What was his custom to juggle 3 hadassim at the weddings? I'm not telling you that you should become jugglers and to start doing this at the weddings. But if this rabbi was doing it, there must be a reason why he decided to make Hatam Nikala happy in such a way. In order to explain this, I'm going to tell you a piece of Zohar. I'm going to read you the words of the Zohar HaKadosh. Gemara says, the Zohar says, Uminalan de'itlon liYisrael, the Zohar is in Parashat Pinchas. Uminalan de'itlon liYisrael l'shatafa l'kodsha berichu shkente b'chadvat dilhon. How do we know that when a person makes a party, specifically it's talking about weddings, how do you know that you're supposed to almost as if have God join you at the wedding? You don't send him an invitation, but he's supposed to be part of your simcha. How do we know that God is part of all our simachot? Dichtiv, because the pasuk says, Yismach Yisrael be'osav. Let the Jewish people rejoice with the one that created them. Who created us? Borei Olam. So the Yismach Yisrael, when the Jewish people are having simcha, Yismach Yisrael be'osav. Be'osav is the one that created. Who's the one that created us? Borei Olam, God Almighty. The Zohar HaKadosh asks, yeah, but we only have one creator. It should say in the pasuk, Yismach Yisrael be'oso. Oso is the one that made him. Osav means it's creators. How many creators do we have? We only have one creator. What does it mean that when we make a party, we have to rejoice with our creators, in the plural? The Zohar HaKadosh says, תכתיב ישמח ישראל בעושיו, ההיא חדבת ישראל, לאו יהיו אלא בעושיו, בעושה מבעלה, שצא בעושו, אלא אילן קודשה בריחו שכנתה, ואביו ואמו. There's 3 creators. There's God, the mother, and the father. Who created you? Your parents. Of course, Borei Olam cannot be left out. He's the main creator in the equation of creation. He gives us the neshama. But the parents, the physical parents, also a part of the creation. So there's 3 partners that come to every wedding. The parents and God. Yismach Yisrael be'osav. So says the Zohar HaKadosh, but what if the parents are not alive anymore? What if the parents are deceased? So it says, even though they have passed on, God uproots the parents from Gan Eden, and He brings the parents with Him lahu hadba, to the party. This is an amazing concept. And I say you know this because you heard this, I'm sure, one time a rabbi said under the Huppa, after he's praising everybody that's under the Huppa, he says, and we also respect the people that are not visible. The neshamot that have come down from Gan Eden, the parents, the grandparents, whatever it is. And maybe when you heard the rabbi say this, you took it with a grain of salt. And you said, hey, is there really souls under the chuppah at the wedding? Maybe he's just trying to be nice, to mention the parents and the grandparents, just so he doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. But today I'm telling you, it's not exaggerated. The Zohar HaKadosh clearly says, Yismach Yisrael be'osav. When Yisrael has simcha, it's with its creators. Shekhinah comes down. That's why I've told you many times, which is not my discussion for today at all, even though it's worthy to talk about it, that the tzniut under the chuppah is very important. Because Shekhinah, God Almighty, comes down under the Huppa. He's part of the Simcha. God is our Father. Every father wants to enjoy in the child's wedding. So just like the physical parents attend, Shekhinah attends also. It would be improper to have immodest dress under the Huppa when the Shekhinah is attending. Forget about Kavod Rabbanim. We forgot about Kavod Rabbanim already. The Rabbanim got used to it. But Kavod Shekhinah, the Kavod of the divine Borei Olam, that's already a different level. Even for only that. But the Zohar HaKadosh is telling us also that the parents, if they're deceased, and I also brought down grandparents, etc., the different generations, they come down also to be part of the festivities. So I brought down why. Why would Borei Olam bring the parents, those neshamot, to be present? What's the purpose of such an invitation to such a presence? So I saw one interpretation like this. The Gemara says the child is the leg of the father. What does that mean? The leg, in Aramaic it's Bera Kera de Abu. Bera, the son, Kera is the leg, the Abu of his father. With the legs we walk, we move. When a person is alive, he does mitzvot. The mitzvot that he does gives him a higher level in eternity. The more mitzvot you do, the higher olam haba you get. That's why you have to take advantage of every moment of life to produce more and more and more. Because Ben Menan, after 120, you can't do anymore. There's no tefillin, there's no sisit, there's no nerot Shabbat, there's no mikveh, there's no nothing. After 120, stop. Whatever you collected, you collected. Oh, but the Gemara says, wait, not finished. The child becomes the legs of the parents. That means if you left children in the world, and the children are doing mitzvot and good deeds and making Kiddush Hashem and doing the proper thing, so they're able to elevate the parent. So technically, even though the parent cannot do anything himself, but through his agent, the agent of the parent becomes the child, and the child is able to bring up the parents' neshama to higher levels. The Gemara says, we all have an obligation to respect our parents, but the real respect of parents begins after they pass on. What do I mean to say? In this world, we can only benefit our parents physically. Give them something to drink, do them chesed, treat them in a proper manner. It's only a physical benefit. But after the parent deceased, then already you're able to benefit the parent on a spiritual level. By doing mitzvot and good deeds, you're able to elevate that's the biggest chesed you can do to a parent. Oh. With this I once saw a very nice derasha. It says in Kiryat Shema, "V'limadtem otam et benechem." Teach your children, educate your children. "V'limadtem otam et benechem." Teach your boys, teach your girls at the birbam. V'shiftecha bebetecha, v'leftecha bederech. Teach them in the house, on the road. Send them to the yeshivas. And then the next pasuk says, what's the benefit of teaching your children? L'ma'an yirbu yemechem. In order that you should have long life. V'imeh benechem. And your children also should have prosperity. Now listen to the next words. Kimeh hashamayim al ha'aretz. What does it mean? Kimeh hashamayim al ha'aretz. Like the heavens on the earth. Simply it means that you and your children should live on the earth and the heavens and the earth, and the world. You should have long life. But the derash is like this. Kimeh shamayim. Even when the parent is in the shamayim, ala ares. It's like he's on the ares. That even though he's deceased and he no longer can do mitzvot himself, he's in the heavens. There's no mitzvot in the heavens. Kimeh shamayim. He's in the shamayim, but ala ares. He's like he's on the ares. Because he left children that are going in his way. So technically, parents that left children in this world that are doing God's will never die, those parents. They never stop moving. They're always active. Every single day or every single year, they go to the parents, they say, okay, we're moving you to the next level. The mother says, what are you talking about? I didn't do any mitzvot this year. I'm up here in the Shamayim. What could I have done? You didn't do anything. But 50 years ago, you had a child, and you sent that child to the yeshiva. And the yeshiva, Baruch Hashem, educated it well, and you taught the child the right way, and Baruch Hashem, we took stock, and all your children this year did unbelievable things. That's to your credit. So pack your bags, we're going to go to a higher level. Wow. So the parent is still moving. Long after the parent passes on, the child becomes the legs of the parent. Watch what I'm going to tell you. That's why they say in the Zohar that the parents come to the wedding, or the grandparents, the previous generations. Because when a person gets married, it's a mitzvah. The mitzvah of marriage is the first mitzvah in the Torah. Peru urvu, be fruitful and multiply. That's getting married. Some say that it's the biggest mitzvah in the Torah. So great that if you only have one Sefer Torah in the Hechal, and you need to make a wedding, the Torah says, sell the Sefer Torah, sell it. Get the money, make the wedding. But Rabbi, we don't have a Sefer Torah. Okay, so you won't have a Sefer Torah. You read from the Chumash, read from the book. But Sefer Torah, wedding's more important. I guess without people, the Sefer Torah has no value. You need people to study Torah. Making a wedding creates students, creates talmidim. That's why the parents come down to the wedding. Because they have nachat, they have pleasure. God wants to give the parents pleasure, to tell the parents, look, you didn't die. You're still alive. Look at your children. They're doing zechuyot, they're getting married. Kedat Moshe v'Yisrael, according to the law of Moses in Israel. This is zechut. Therefore, the parents benefit from this. Therefore, God brings them from Gan Eden in order to see the mitzvah, the big mitzvah that the child is fulfilling. But I have to tell you, there is a problem. If you look at the Zohar HaKadosh, it says, God uproots the parents. He has to pull them out of Gan Eden to bring them to the wedding. It sounds like they're hesitant. What do we have to pull? We have to pull them out. Just tell them there's a wedding. Of course they want to go. Pulling them out sounds like it's against their will. So I saw brought down, whenever a neshama is asked to come down to this world, it's scared. Why? Because this world is a world of tum'ah, unfortunately. It's a physical world. The neshamot come from a holy place. There's a risk that whenever something holy comes down to this world, it becomes tainted. It becomes influenced. It becomes affected. Even angels, if you can imagine, a malach, is anything holier than an angel? If an angel comes down to earth for too long, even the angel can become affected. How do I know? The holy books say, you remember when the angels went to destroy Sodom? In last week's parasha we read, God dispatched some malachim. The angels went to destroy the city of Sodom. What did they do before they went to Sodom? They went to the house of Abraham. Everybody asks a question. What are you going to the house of Abraham for? Just go to Sodom. Well, one angel came to tell Sarah she's having a baby. Okay, you have to go. You need to be there. One angel came in order to give Abraham a speedy recovery from the Brit Milah. No problem. But one angel went to destroy Sodom. So when are you going to Abraham's house? Go to Sodom. Why did he make a pit stop at Abraham's house? Take a direct flight to Sodom. No, he made a stopover. You know what the holy books say? Because the angel that was going to destroy Sodom was worried about itself. He said, if I go to Sodom, I'm going to get influenced by Sodom. Even the malach was worried about the negative atmosphere of Sodom. So he said, let me go to Avraham Avinu first and get a beracha from Abraham. So when I go to Sodom, I won't be influenced. Where's the beracha? Did Abraham give a beracha? It says, Abraham tells the angel, "Ve'ikha pat lechem." Let me give you a piece of bread. Whoever eats from the bread of Abraham Avinu, the bread of Abraham is kodesh. It's holy. It has kedusha. Ve'sa'adu lebechem. Eat from the food. There'll be beracha. Ve'achar ta'avoru. And then after, you go to Sodom. You won't have anything to worry about. So even angels are concerned about coming down to this world. There's a story in the Navi. Maybe you read it once. There was a king called Shaul HaMelech. Shaul wanted to know, should he go to war or not? There was a war. Is he going to win? Is he not going to win? He doesn't know what to do. So what did he do? He went to a witch. Mechashefet. Don't ask me how he was allowed to go to a witch. It's a good question. You're not allowed to go to witches. Palm readers and all this type of stuff. He went. We give him the benefit of the doubt. He went. He's at the witch. All of a sudden, what does he see on the table? Whatever the heebie-jeebie they were doing. All of a sudden, he sees the soul of Shemuel HaNavi come down. Shemuel HaNavi died already. Shemuel was in Gan Eden. All of a sudden, Shemuel HaNavi comes down, and Shaul asked Shemuel, should we go to the war or not? Look at this. He was able to bring down an neshama from the upper worlds to talk to it. This you don't try at home. This is very dangerous. The people that interrupt the neshamot in the heaven, very dangerous business. But Shaul HaMelech was a big tzaddik. He trusted. What's the first thing Shemuel told Shaul? You know what I would think? Nice to see you, Shaul. Baruch HaNimsa. How's everything? How's the nation? How's the people? The first thing the Shemuel HaNavi says, I want to quote you the Lashon. ויאמר שמואל אל שאול, למה הרגזתני לעלות אותי? What did you do? What did you bring me here for? He was angry at him. What? Because you have a personal question? Go ask the Kohen Gadol. Go ask somebody. You brought me from Gan Eden? What are you worried, Shemuel? So you're here now. Big deal. No, he was worried because when the Neshamot come down to this world, there's negative influences in this world. The Neshama can lose some of its level. So Shemuel said, you brought me back to this world. I'm in Gan Eden in a delicious place. You brought me back to Olam Hazeh. I don't want to be here. Too late. He was there already. And then he gave Shaul the advice. Oh. The parents now are told by Borei Olam, the children are getting married. Come, we're going to go down. Oh. We have to go down to the wedding? They're in Gan Eden. Who knows what goes on at the weddings? Who knows what's going on in this world between I'm not going to say. But the point is, I don't want to get in trouble. But the point is, the Neshamot don't want to come down. They would have to come down to the wedding floor. So who knows? So Borei Olam has to bring them against their will. You have to come. You have to come. But we want to protect the Neshamot. So I saw a wonderful explanation. You know, at the wedding, we make Sheva Berachot. The 7 blessings. The first Berakah we make, Borei Priya Gefen. Gefen is Gefen. The next Berakah is Shehakol Bara Lechvodo. That everything is created for the honor of God. Anything we do is Lechvodo, is for God's honor. What does that have to do with a wedding? Everything we do is for God's honor. So if you look at the Gemara explains what the reason for that berakah is. Shakol bara lechvodo ena min haseder. It's really not part of the berachot for the wedding. Ela la'asifat ha'am ha'ne'esafim sham nigmol chesed. We're giving a blessing to all the people that came to the wedding to do chesed. Say Shakol bara lechvodo. All these people that came here tonight to the wedding, they came to give honor to Borei Olam, to do chesed with ta'atam v'kala. So there's a berakah in their honor. But listen to the words I'm telling you. This is the lashon of Rashi. Shakol bara lechvodo ena al haseder. It doesn't count from the order of the berachot. Ela la'asifat ha'am ha'ne'esafim. Listen to the word ne'esafim. You know what ne'esaf means? Gathered. But how do you say in the Torah's language when somebody passes away? The language is, Vayasef el Amav. He was gathered into his people. Yasef is a language of death. Maybe what Nashi is telling us over here is the reason why we make the beracha, la'asifat ha'am ha'ne'esafim, those dead souls, ha'ne'esafim, that passed away, that come down to the Huppa, l'gmol chesed, to do chesed with ta'atam v'kala by their presence. So we make a special beracha for them. What is this beracha? So I'm going to tell you. The Arizal writes that one has to be very careful in berachot. Birkat al-Mehinin, the blessings that you make before you eat. It's not enough to make them. First you have to make the right blessing. But after you figure out what blessing to make. But then you have to make them with kavanah. You have to make them slowly. You have to make them with concentration. Why, he says? I'll say it easy. In the food, there's tum'ah. There's contaminants in the food. I'm not talking about red dye number 1 and sugar and all the other contaminants. I'm talking about spiritual contaminants, tum'ah that's in the food. If a person eats these foods, the tum'ah goes in his system. And that creates a barrier between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Happens to be, good news I have to tell you, there's Kiddushah in the food also. So how do you extract the tum'ah out of the food and just have the Kiddushah benefit? By making berachot. Whenever you make a beracha, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Boreh Peri Ha'etz. The power of the beracha is so strong, the tum'ah goes away. It cannot stay there. What are you left with? You're left with a couple of calories. That doesn't get rid of the calories. The beracha is limited. The calories are there. Don't think you're going to say, I said a beracha, I'm not going to gain. No, the weight is there. But the point is, the tum'ah goes away, and there's kiddushah there. But when people don't make berachot correctly, it affects them. The food, even though it's rat kasher, with all the hechsherim on it, yashan, alav Yisrael, with all the things. But without a beracha, it has things that are not good. It's not only you have to watch what you eat. Before you eat, you have to make an operation on the food. If you don't make a surgery on the food, a lot of not good comes into the body. The beracha is the surgery. What do you think, ladies, when we eat? We say Divrei Torah on the table. Divrei Torah cleans the whole situation. Berachot, Netilat Yadayim, etc. Now watch. This beracha she'akol bara lechvodo is not part of the ceremony for the Hatam V'Kala. You know what they say this beracha does? If there's any chas v'shalom bad influence under the Huppa, or there's any bad influence in the room or in the area, when we say she'akol bara lechvodo, we're making this beracha in honor of those deceased that came down. What happens? All the tumah goes away. Now it brings a surge of Kiddusha under the Huppa. Now the Neshamot that come down, they're comfortable over here. They don't want to come down because they don't want to get affected. They don't want to be tainted. They don't want to be influenced by the negative influences like the angels don't want to go to Sodom. When you make this beracha, it's like taking perfume. You spray the perfume. Oh, now the parents and the grandparents come down. So the beracha is made for their honor. Do you know what's going on under a Huppa, ladies? Do you understand the mechanics of what's taking place? That's why once I was under Huppa, we were standing, and everybody says, very crowded under here. Of course it's very crowded. All those neshamot that are coming down also. Oh, really, Rabbi? Neshamot? That makes us cry? Yeah, it gets tight under the Huppa. It's not only the photographer and all the other auxiliary people under the Huppa. There's neshamot under the Huppa. So the first beracha is made, Shakol bara lechvodo. Oh, now you sprayed the whole area. Now the neshamot are comfortable. Shakol bara lechvodo is an honor of the deceased. And the esafim. Those that on the Isaf. But now we go further. There's a rabbi called Kedushat Levi. He says a big hadush. He says a question. He says, how come when a person is born, every baby that's born, what's the first thing the baby does? Baby cries. It's a big hadush. Why does the baby cry when he's born? Why doesn't the baby laugh when he's born? He was all stuffed up in his mother's womb. He was let out of jail finally. Now he has a whole world, beautiful world. What do you mean? Life in the womb is constraining. There's nothing going on in the womb. It's all tight area. Comes out, delicious, the air, the world, the sun, everything is peace. He's his mother. Right away the baby comes out, boche, boche, boche. Why? You never saw a baby come out smiling. It doesn't happen. They have to cry. What are you crying for? Why is every baby crying? No exceptions. I'll tell you why. Kedushat Levi says, because really, it doesn't want to come down. The Neshama was in Gan Eden before this. The Neshama was up there doing holy things with all the Neshamot, with the chair of Kisah Kavod. The last thing the Neshama wants is to come down to this world over here. What is it going to do over here? Like I told you, it's contaminated, there's averot, there's all influences and all that. This is a bad neighborhood. The Neshama is not used to living in this bad neighborhood. It wants to stay over there with the tzaddikim and all that. So when it's in the mother's womb, it's still inside. There's an angel teaching it. It's still protected. Once it comes out, he starts to cry. It doesn't want to be here. Well, you're stuck. What are you going to do? We can't put you back. You're there. You're here already. So it cries a little. The mother makes nice. Okay, don't worry. Feeds it. Slowly, slowly. Then he goes further. Says an amazing thing. He says, sometimes when you go under the Huppa, you see the bride and the groom, they're crying. Why are they crying? It's a happy day. Yom Simchat Lebo. This is not a time to cry. This is the happiest moment of their lives. They're talking about the wedding for months. And finally you get to the wedding. Oh, bring the hakala tissue. Bring your tissue. Give the hatan, give them water. Everybody's crying. I'm not talking about the parents. The parents crying is another story. The father has to pay for the wedding. Of course he's crying. He's going to cry for a long time. But that's the parents. I'm talking about, he says, the hatan v'kala. Sometimes you see them cry. I've seen it, you've seen it under the wedding many times. They're very emotional, hatan v'kala. They can't control it. And it just comes on. It's not even during the speech. It just, somewhere in the ceremony, they're wiping tears away. What's the explanation, he says? Well, he says a big secret. He says, because under the Huppa, not only comes the Neshamot of the previous generations, the parents and the grandparents and all, but comes the Neshamot of the future generations. All those Neshamot that this couple is going to bring down to the world, all their children and all their descendants, they come down to the Huppa as well. This couple's going to have 7 children. The 7 children come down to the Huppa as well. Their future descendants in the Neshama form are there. And the Neshama, I told you, doesn't want to come down to the world. The Neshama cries when it comes out of the mother's womb. So the parents instinctively start crying. For those Neshamot, they don't know, ask them why you're crying. I don't know, I'm crying. I'll tell you why. Because all the Neshamot you're bringing down, and those Neshamot, they have to come down. Hashem doesn't give them a choice. But the crying is coming for those Neshamot that cry when they come out of the mother's womb. So the mother and the father start crying under the Huppa. The groom and the bride start crying. Could you believe? If you had an X-ray camera, you'd see all Neshamot, future Neshamot, past Neshamot. Actually, the Huppa is the past, the present, and the future. Under every Huppa you have three generations that are represented. One in a physical form, and then two in spiritual form. The previous generations and the descendants that are going to follow. Why? I'm going to tell you another secret. I wish one day if we had maybe a whole day to give shi'ur, we can go to the whole wedding ceremony from beginning to end, and I can give you all the different things that are taking place. You wouldn't know it from where you're sitting. You can't see anything in the crowd. But I get to go under the chuppah to every wedding, so I see a lot of things that you don't see. So I'm going to one day, B'ezrat Hashem, share to you all the different magic that takes place under a chuppah. Every moment is a different item. Today I'm only talking about who is present under the chuppah. The pasuk says, "Lo yamushu mepicha, umepi zar'acha, umepi zera zar'acha, amar Adonai me'ata v'ad olam." The Gemara teaches us on this pasuk. Any family that has 3 generations of Torah, mepicha, your mouth, mepi zar'acha, your children's mouth, mepi zera zar'acha, your grandchildren, guaranteed Torah will never leave that family. Me'ata v'ad olam. It's always important to get 3 generations of Torah in a family. Once you have 3 generations, a father, his son, and his grandson all study Torah, that's a lock. Torah is guaranteed to remain in that family forever. Tosfot asks a question. Tosfot says, what do you mean? We see many families that have 3 generations and they don't have Torah anymore today. They go back, everybody says, in Halab, my great-grandfather was chief rabbi. Abdadin, this, that. But look at them today, they have no Torah. What happened? So Tosfot says, no. There's one condition. It's talking where they all are living and they study together. So if you have a family with a father and a son and a grandson, all living and they study Torah together, that's guaranteed Torah remains in that family forever. They have to see each other and learn with each other. There was one great rabbi. He was at a party. He got up to speak. After he spoke, he said, I want to call on my son now to say Dirash. His son got up and spoke. Then the rabbi got up and said, I want to call on my grandson now to get up and speak. After they all spoke, he said he's very happy because he just guaranteed the Torah will never leave his family. Because we're all 3 together, we all spoke the Torah together, I liked it. I had zechut many times in shi'ur to teach in one class 3 generations. Father, a son, and his grandson. Which is a big zechut. For them to learn together, it's an amazing moment when that happens. If it ever happens on Shabbat, where you see 3 generations together, make sure you say the Torah. Take out a book, start learning something, because you're guaranteeing this is insurance. It's very important. So the holy books say that what happens under the chuppah, you have one generation, the couple. The previous generation comes, that's the parents, the grandparents, they come down. The future generations are his children. So under the chuppah you have 3 generations, 1 in actuality and 2 in spirit. And what do we do under the chuppah? The custom is that somebody speaks and they say Divrei Torah. What happens? The rabbi gets up to speak at a wedding and everybody says, no, dirashot now. Enough with the dirashot. Let's just finish with the wedding. We don't hear dirashot. Because you don't realize the value of what's taking place. You're having Divrei Torah being spoken with 3 generations together. The purpose of that dirashah is to guarantee that this family will have Torah for the next 1,000 years. It's not worthy to interrupt 5 minutes from the lamb chops to guarantee Torah in the generation forever. That's the purpose of everything under the chuppah has a meaning. The speech has a meaning. The speech is not to tell love stories between the Hatan and Kala. Of course, it's to say nice words, to say a little Divrei Torah, Hidush, in order to connect the 3 generations. The marriage always has to connect the generations. The first thing when Yitzchak got married, before he got married, he took Rivka. What did he do to Rivka? He took her to his mother's tent. Vaybi'eha ohela Sarah immo. What, he wants to show Rivka his mother's tent? So it says, I read the Targum. There's a Targum. Va'ala Yitzchak lemashkena. He took his future wife to the tent. Ve'chaza, and he saw, ve'ha takenin obadaha ka'obadeh Sarah immeh. He saw that the ways of Rivka emulated the ways of his mother. When Sarah Imenu was living, she had beracha in her tent. There was a cloud over the tent. There was a beracha in the dough. When she would make the dough, the bread would stay fresh for a week. And there was a beracha in the Nerot Shabbat. When she lit the Shabbat candle, Sarah Imenu, it lasted a week straight. When she died, the tent went away, the candles extinguished, and the bread got stale. When Rivka walked into the tent, the second she walked in, the cloud came back, the lights went on, and the bread became fresh. When Yitzhak saw that the ways of Rivka emulated the ways of his mother, he said, this is the one that I marry. You see a big lesson from here. In the times of the Torah, until today, in the old-fashioned families, the children get married only to the approval of the parents. I wonder what would have happened if Rivka would have went in the tent and Yitzhak would not have seen a similarity between his wife and his mother. We don't know what would have happened. Maybe he would say, we have to wait, we can't get married, I have to teach you. That means the marriages were done with their parents' approval and with their parents' way. Who picked out the wife for Yitzhak? His father. His father made the marriage. So with his father's approval and his mother's way, Yitzhak got married. Not like today in some places, where the parents don't have a say in who their children marry. When the child comes home, hey, this is the girl. What is the girl? What is this over here? What is this over here? Who's the family? No, you don't know anything. I'm doing it myself. This was never our tradition. Marriage was something that was done by the parents for the child. The child has some say, but the parents have the overriding say. This is the way it was done. And that's why under a Huppa, his parents, everything's authentic. It's tradition. Under the Huppa, the parents are there, the grandparents are there in spirit if they're not alive, the children, the future. It's all done tradition. The Gemara says, כל המשמח חתן וכלה כאילו בנה אחת מחורבות ירושלים. Anybody that makes a Hatan Mikala happy, it's like they built one of the ruins of Jerusalem. If you ever went to Jerusalem, you see they have old buildings, broken down buildings. So they say if you go to a wedding and you make Hatan Mikala happy, you get credit as if you built one of the ruins of Jerusalem. I once asked the question, it's very nice to build one of the ruins of Jerusalem, but who wants to build the ruins? It should say whoever goes to a wedding and makes Hatan Mikala, it's like you built a new condominium in Miami. That's hashuv. What do you mean old ruins? Who wants to build old ruins in Jerusalem? And the explanation is that a true wedding and Simchat Hatan Mikala is not the Hatan Mikala starting a new road and beginning a new path. A wedding of Hatan Mikala is building on the old. Is building on the traditions of parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. It's building the ruins, meaning you're continuing a legacy, you're continuing a history. You're not building a new condominium. We don't want you to build a new Hadash Asur. Once it's new, that means you're veering away from your tradition. My parents did it this way, but we know better. We can do it this way. They were old-fashioned, my grandparents. We're going to get married, have a different way. Don't build new condominiums. Build the old. Rebuild the old. Continue the building the ruins. Those are the strongest buildings. That's why when Yitzhak got married, and before we got married, Sarah, is there a connection between Sarah and Rivka? There is. It's like the old. Now we can go forward. Now you understand, ladies, what I started the shiur with. There was a rabbi. The rabbi I told you was Rabbi Shemuel Bar Rav Yitzhak. What did he do with the weddings? He used to juggle 3 hadassim. He was juggling 3 hadassim at the wedding. And the students didn't understand what he's doing. He said he's embarrassing us, such a big rabbi. Now he became a clown at the circus, juggling. But the explanation might be, you know what he was juggling? He was telling the Hatan v'Kala, there's 3 generations that are here at the wedding tonight with you. Now you're here representing yourself. But your parents and your grandparents in the previous generation, that's in a different world. They came against their will. They don't want to come down here. But don't worry, we make a beracha for them to clean the area so they won't be affected. They came down also to share in your simcha, and your future descendants also came down. That's why you're crying tonight, because your future descendants are coming down. They're also going to cry when they come out of the womb. And therefore, he was symbolizing them with the 3 hadassim, juggling, in order to tell Hatan v'Kala, the descendants that are going to come from you are tzaddikim. They didn't sin yet, then you weren't even born yet. Your ancestors that came down, they're perfect. They already went through the process. And therefore make teshuvah. That's why the Hatan v'Kala have to repent before the wedding. Because on that night, they're in the presence of all perfect people, all perfect tzaddikim. So they have to be part of the 3 generations. You can't have tzaddik before, tzaddik after, and in the middle is all, then you don't have electricity. The electricity doesn't flow through the generations. So the Musari was giving them, remember, it's 3 generations, not 1. This is only one small aspect of why he juggled 3. To be honest with you, there's another interpretation, but I cannot say it today. That maybe if I have the strength on Shabbat morning, after Minyan at 10 o'clock, I'll say another explanation, but on a much higher level, why he juggled the 3 hadassim. But that's for sure. That, what I'm going to say, it can only be said on Shabbat. You need the Kiddushah of Shabbat to help us with that. But for Thursday, this is a good derash to say. What do you benefit now? We wish there was a wedding now. We wish we can go right now after a wedding somewhere. To understand the Kiddushah that's taking place underneath the Huppa. So the next time you hear the rabbi say, and we want to mention the deceased and the Neshamot, don't take it lightly. This is emet. This is the truth. Everybody, live in spirit, it's all there. And therefore the wedding ceremony must become much more elevated. Must be on a higher level. It's a ceremony that few ceremonies can match, not only from an emotional standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. The drama that takes place under Huppa is something not from this world. And therefore we have to be mehazek ourselves, those that are sitting in the crowd, those that are under the Huppa, with all the inyanek kedusha, shakol bara lechvodo. That beracha is a welcoming to the neshamot. And as I said, it perfumes the area. And then you create 3 generations of Torah. So the children that come out physically eventually will be guaranteed to have a Torah lifestyle. I pray to all, to Borei Olam, that all of you should merit to marry off your children, to get married yourself. And the zichut that we studied about marriage today, what do you think? First you study, then Borei Olam says you studied it, now it's going to happen. So all those that need to get married, B'ezrat Hashem, they'll find their zug, b'sha'at tova muslachat, and shalom al Yisrael, amen.